Texas Tech University and the Regents of Texas Tech University trying to calm everybody down when it comes to the vet school and the ouster of Chancellor Robert Duncan. Hey everybody, I'm Chad Hasty, host of the Chad Hasty Show, which airs weekday mornings 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. Texas Tech University releasing a press release from the Regents in the Regents meeting from last week. In that meeting, or in the press release, Texas Tech trying to, well, calm everybody down. Everyone who is upset about the ouster of Chancellor Robert Duncan. Now, if you don't know what's been going on, or if you're a little bit behind, on Monday it was announced by Texas Tech and by Chancellor Duncan that he would be resigning or retiring in the next 2 weeks at the end of August. That didn't pass the smell test for a lot of us, because normally when a chancellor of a major university system decides to retire, there's about a 3 to 6 month transition plan, not a 2-week transition plan. So that didn't pass the smell test. Then it came out on Tuesday, according to many sources, to many different media outlets, that there was actually an informal vote held of no confidence, a 5-4 vote going against Chancellor Duncan to basically oust him as chancellor. There were numerous sources who told me that Texas A&M had a role in this, and that the chancellor's office at Texas A&M had a role in this, in lobbying some of the regents at Texas Tech, and that there are some inside the governor's office who had lobbied some of those on the Texas Tech Board of Regents in order to get rid of Robert Duncan, because Texas A&M and others, by the way, want to do away with this idea of the Texas Tech vet school. Well, Texas Tech, they've been under fire. There's been a lot of people who have been upset. They sent out a press release on Wednesday afternoon, stating that, hey, we're moving forward. The Board of Regents last week approved a plan moving forward with the vet school. That's both true and not so much. Now, I don't want to say false, but not so true on one hand. Okay, so here's what Texas Tech releases. They have this big press release. Most of it is old news, things that the Board of Regents approved back in 2017. What was approved by the Board of Regents, and I'll give them credit for this, what was approved by the Board of Regents last week was this: a budget of $1.37 million that will provide planning and design services for the new veterinary medicine school, which has an anticipated budget of $89.82 million. The budget will be funded with appropriated funds. In other words, they approved planning services. Okay, great. We've kind of been in the planning phase for a while now. If you've been watching this, you know, this has been discussed since like 2015 or so, this whole idea of a vet center. So the Board of Regents last week, in what they think is a big news item right now, and I'll tell you why it's not here in just a second, the Board of Regents announced, via email today, hey, we're moving forward by planning. Okay, great. The problem here is, I believe you can still shift money around in the budget. So if that money's not going to be used, you can shift it around to different items. Second, there's no timeline. There's absolutely no timeline at all as far as planning goes for this particular issue. And here's why I don't think it was a big issue. Last week, there were numerous, or a couple of stories that were released about numerous issues, including pay increases for some Texas Tech head coaches. And then also the Board of Regents, they were very excited, and they should have been, and very happy about some other budgetary issues, including the redevelopment or I guess redoing of the historic dairy barn on the Texas Tech campus. It's going to be beautiful, going to be awesome. And also the big announcement, budgetary item, that a athletic dining hall is going to be built on the Texas Tech campus. That's great. That's wonderful. I don't have a problem with either of those two things, but that didn't make the cut last week. So if it's big news that the Texas Tech Regents allocated $1.37 million for planning purposes for a vet school. Why was it not big news last week? It's only big news now. Aha! It's because everybody's upset with Texas Tech University. Texas Tech alums are upset, and I don't think they're buying. I've heard from a lot of people right now who are saying that this is smoke and mirrors, that this is, that they are very skeptical that Texas Tech Regents really want to move forward with a vet school because they got rid of Bob Duncan. They got rid of him because he was in favor, that's what we keep hearing, that he was in favor of the vet school. Now, if that's not true, I want to hear from you, the Regents of Texas Tech University. If Bob Duncan wasn't fired because of his support for the vet school, why did you hold a vote of no confidence? Why did that happen? You have a responsibility to let the Texas Tech community and the alumni know why you wanted to get rid of him. Why did the Texas Tech Board of Regents vote 5-4, an informal vote, but a 5-4 vote to get rid of Robert Duncan? They must answer this question. Otherwise, we have to keep assuming what we are all hearing, including, by the way, different lawmakers, that this was motivated by the vet school process. Hey, Regents, I want to believe that everything's on the up and up here, but you have to make a statement. Don't rely on Texas Tech sending out a combination of old news and really not so big news to make everyone calm down a little bit. You guys have a responsibility to address the media and to address concerns about what role not only did Texas A&M play, but the governor's office play and everyone else's role play in your decision to hold a vote of no confidence on Robert Duncan. What did he do that was so bad to force your hand and to force you to vote against him and to push him out as chancellor of the university? Tune in to the Chad Hasty Show weekday mornings 8:30 to 11 on News Talk KFYO.